Well, good morning again. Great to be here. I hope everybody had a great Christmas and a great New Year's. And so I want to say first a huge thank you to Reverend Chaz Wesley for being here last week. He is just so willing to say yes, and I know that he has truly become a beloved part of our community. And not only is that love something that goes to him, but that love is something that comes from him to us. So I'm just so grateful for his presence here. And I listened to his talk, and it was just such a fabulous, wonderful talk. He actually texted me and said, just so you know, I think that this was one of my best talks ever. No pressure. Well, it is hard to believe 2015 is here, and each year, don't you just feel like it just goes so fast? And I was thinking that it doesn't seem like that long ago that we were ushering in the new millennium. That was 15 years ago. And think about the changes that have occurred in your life in 15 years. That's a lot of changes, isn't it? And probably we all made some New Year's resolutions as we moved into the year 2000. And I wonder if any of us are making the same resolutions as we're moving into the year 2015. Anybody? I love this quote. It says, "A New Year's resolution is something that goes in one year and out the other." And I thought this was cute. Dieting, a New Year's resolution. 2009, I will get my weight down below 180 pounds. 2010, I will watch my calories until I get below 190. 2011, I will follow my new diet religiously until I get below 200 pounds. 2012, I will develop a realistic attitude about my weight. 2013, I will work out 5 days a week. 2014, I will work out 3 days a week. 2015, I will try to drive past a gym at least once a week. Now, I've shared before that I love the holidays because I think the holidays do give us, they give us pause for thought. And as we, move through Christmas and then into the New Year's, of course, New Year's gives us the opportunity to think about where our lives are and where we would like our lives to be, where, to look at, what would I like to improve in myself in this new year. And of course, New Year's is the time that we are going to make resolutions because is it ringing out the old and bringing in the new, or do we ring in the new? You guys don't know either. I feel so much better. Anyway, and New Year's, in a way, it gives us a sense of hope that things can be better in some way, whether it's hope that our bodies can be better, our relationships can be better, or our finances can be better. And hope is essential to life. Don't ever let anybody tell you that hope is not important. Hope is essential to life. It absolutely is. So I'm not here today to tell you not to make New Year's resolutions, but I am here to ask us to be open to something different maybe, and really start asking the question, do New Year's resolutions really serve me? Are they really serving my highest good in the long term? Okay, so just kind of being open to that. Now, my friend Will Bowen, who is, and a lot of us here know Will, he's the author of Happy This Year and A Complaint-Free World, and his newest book is To You Love God. He shared this on his blog, and what he shared was some reasons that New Year's resolutions don't work and how to dramatically change your life anyway. So here's some of what he says. He says, the new year begins and you resolve that a new you must accompany it. You make a list of all your perceived deficiencies, factor in input from society and suggestions that from others, and come up with a list of resolutions, things you plan to radically change about yourself in the coming year. And he said New Year's resolutions would be fine if it worked. But he feels that it's all a game we play to keep ourselves spiritually asleep, unhappy, and unfulfilled. He said most New Year's resolutions don't work for a number of reasons, and I'm going to share a couple of them here. The first one he says, is that we forget who we are. This is one of the reasons, is because we forget who we are. He said, if the changes that we wanted to make were easy, we would have already made them. And this is what I love, because I never thought about this. He said, you push these tough responsibilities onto your future self as if somehow that person was separate from you. And that's really an unfair thing to do. The 2015 version of you in December hasn't even shown up, and you're already saddling it with hundreds of tasks, tweets, and changes, and all of this stuff that you haven't been able to get yourself to do. I've never thought of it from that perspective. Excuse me. Oscar Wilde said, good resolutions are simply checks that men draw on a bank where they have no account. So as I was reading this, I thought, in a very real way, we set ourselves up to be disappointed with ourselves, because we somehow create the illusion that when I go to bed on December 31st and wake up 4, 6, 8 hours later, I am going to be a totally new person. And all of those things that were up until December 31st, all those things that kept me from doing what I say I'm going to do now, they're magically gone. They're just gone. And I'm never going to eat an unhealthy thing again. And I'm going to exercise 5 days a week. And I'm never going to cuss again. I'm never going to be an unrighteous judgment again. That magically we wake up on New Year's and whoa! And everything's different. And the reality is, we wake up on New Year's and we're still here. And of course, we want to be a better version of ourselves. 100% we want to be a better version of ourselves. But I have to ask, how is it working for us? Really, how is it working for us? I can't remember if Chaz said this last week or if I read it somewhere, but there supposedly was this study that the people gain the most weight in the month of February. I have a hard time believing that, because I think, November, December is probably that time, but it's not because of the chocolates. It's because when we set these goals, join a gym, or we set these goals in January, that we're all into it, but it's about after 5 weeks that our energy or our motivation starts to wane some. And why is that? So here's the second reason that Will says, because you're on drugs. And we actually internally are. He says, the smell of popcorn that hits you when you walk into a movie theater? The smell of popcorn causes an instant rush of dopamine in the brain. And dopamine has been called the bliss drug. It's that drug that's whoa, makes us feel really good. And studies have found that when we make a commitment such as, I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to save money this year, our brain kicks out a big dose of dopamine, and we get this feeling of elation. In other words, just making the commitment to change creates a high. Now, please hear, that is not to say that resolutions don't work. That absolutely some resolutions work. And there are people who are very, very disciplined, very committed, very goal-oriented, probably don't have any kids, maybe don't have a job, don't have a spouse. But they're very, very, and so I'm not saying New Year's resolutions don't work. And I'm absolutely not saying, to not set goals. But perhaps we could shift our focus on how we can become a better version of ourselves. Will goes on to say, so what can you do? So he tells us, hey, think about this. This may not be working for us, but what can you do? And he said, consider, rather than making a list of things that you should do, ask yourself, what one word or phrase encapsulates the greatest positive shift in my life? What one word, and I added phrase, encapsulates the greatest positive shift in my life. And he says, go into prayer. Go into prayer. Tap into the divine. Ask your greater self, your higher self, your soul, whatever you want to call that if you were to live this expanded version, what is it that is mine to lean into for this year of 2015? And words are going to come, things are going to come. Like, I need to lean more into wholeness. I need to lean more into oneness. I need to lean more into abundance consciousness. But I need to lean more into peace. Sometimes just the whole anxiety of things. I need to lean more into peace, whatever that is. Now, I shared before that in January of 1995 that I literally dedicated that year to self-love, to loving myself. And I had had many people ask me, so like, what did you do? How do you know what to do? And here's the thing, and this is the thing that we have to remember. We're not doing this journey alone. We're never doing this journey alone. It's not up to us to figure out the how. It never is. The beautiful thing is that when we set our intention and we really allow ourselves to lean fully into that God, the divine, the how will show up. For me that year, the first thing that showed up was a year-long class called The Quest. And I did that class. And then there were just other things that showed up throughout the entire year. But that year was a foundational springboard for my entire life. Just making the commitment that this year was about loving myself, was about self-love. And here's the thing is that when we say things like, and I'm talking about self-love here, I'll be able to love and accept myself more when I lose this much weight, when I get a job that I can be proud of, when I have a better car, or when I have that partner in my life that completes me. We say things like this, and then I can love and accept myself. But the beautiful thing about how the divine works is that, in that we're looking outside of ourselves to bring something in to make us feel whatever it is, but in this case, to feel better or feel good about ourselves. But the beauty of God is that when we say, my intention this year is to move deeper into self-love and self-acceptance, then what happens is that we start to create this vibration or this energy. And because we're creating this vibration, this energy, because we're taking classes, or we're reading things, or we're journaling, or we're meditating, and our mantra is all about I love and accept myself completely, I love and accept myself wholly, then by this wonderful thing called the law of attraction that is in effect all the time, and the power of grace, then things, we draw things to us, or things are added to us. And here's the beautiful thing about this, is that when we are living in now self-love and self-acceptance, we no longer need those things to feel good about ourselves. We thought we needed them. We thought, I need to lose this much weight before I feel good about myself. I need to whatever. But as we really move into and become the presence of self-love and acceptance, we don't need those things anymore. But here's the cool thing, is that they're attracted to us because they're the same energy, and we start drawing to us then, wonderful things to move into a healthier way of life, or we start drawing to us healthy partnerships, or a better quality of job. And this is the thing where sometimes we effort so much. We effort and effort and effort, and there is a time for action. There absolutely is a time for action. But the first place that we always could be going is right back in here, and remembering that these qualities, whatever it is that I'm seeking, it's already who I am. It's already what I am. So take abundance. If we say, this year, I'm going to lean into abundance. Abundance is my thing in 2015, and we make that commitment, and we open our eyes and we start looking at the abundance that is all around us, because we live in an abundant universe. We live on an abundant planet. There is abundance everywhere. And we start celebrating other people's abundance, and we start celebrating and being grateful for whatever abundance that is in our lives, that comes into our lives and that is currently in our lives. And again, this whole beautiful thing happens where, because now we're the energy of, we're vibrating this abundance energy, guess what? More is added unto us. But we don't need it. It's such a dichotomy to me. But we find that we don't need it in order to be happy, because we've got the consciousness of it. But by law of the universe, more is added unto us. I think this is such a cool thing, more is added unto us, because this is the way of God. This is the way of God. This is the way of the divine. This is the way of this brilliant intelligence. What did Jesus say? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven that is within you, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Don't go seeking out there. Your happiness does not lie in losing 15 pounds, because you know what? You're going to look at that body and you're going to say, oh, I really need to lose 5 more. I need to tone up here. There's always going to be something that we don't like about ourselves when we're seeking out here. But when we come back into the kingdom of God that is right here at hand within us, and we start settling back into whatever it is that we're focusing on, self-love, acceptance, whatever it is, again, the great thing is things start showing up and things start being added unto us. So the idea here is, as Chaz said last week, and I loved this, allow yourself to sit in the question. Allow yourself to sit in the question. You don't have to make a decision on December 31st what is important for you on January 1st. Allow yourself to sit in the question and go into meditation. Just take some time. And it's not necessarily that in that time of meditation an answer is going to pop, but because we take that time to move back into the divine, into the greater reality, it will be made known. And that is a given. It will be made known. And then also, as Will said, to ask yourself, what one word or phrase encapsulates the greatest positive shift in my life? What is it that I'm seeking right now? What will make my life so much better? And then go into that and say, okay, now what quality, what is within me that is mine to expand in me, as me, and through me this year? Now each year, excuse me, I try to come up with some type of a theme for our community. And as you could see, the theme I thought was going to be this year was my Joy I Glean in 2015. But I go with the flow and I just allow. And when I was in Ohio, it just all of a sudden, it was so clear to me that it was about love, because joy is a byproduct of love. And I played with it until it was really last night that finally it kind of settled in. And what I would like our theme to be this year is love is our thing in 2015. Because my friends, what the world needs now is love. That's what our world needs. It needs love more than anything. And love as oneness, as kindness, as compassion, as forgiveness, as service, as hope, as goodness. Think of just those things and just think of how focusing on that would change your life, would change the dynamic of your relationships, would change the dynamic of your workplace, would change the dynamic of our spiritual community for even better, would change the dynamic of the world if we if we were expressing oneness and kindness and compassion and forgiveness and service and hope and goodness. And so it just really deepened in me that this really, our thing is love, love is our thing in 2015, encapsulates everything, because it's about self-love and it's about loving others, and of course we talked about, loving God, but it's this beautiful, ginormous thing, because you know what? God is the one and only presence and power, yes? God is love, yes? Love is the one and only presence and power. And so as we move further into that we are here to be the presence of love as a collective spiritual community, oh my gosh, amazing things are going to happen. And amazing opportunities are going to show up for us individually and collectively to be in service to the greater expression of love. So I hope that you will join me in that theme of love is our thing in 2015. Now, it may or may not be your personal commitment, but I do have a couple things to share here. One of the things I think that we need to ask when we're doing something like this is, what is mine to let go of in order for me to be the presence of love, to be the presence of abundance, whatever it is. But in this case, what is mine to let go of in order to be fully the presence of love? What is standing in the way of me showing up as forgiveness, kindness, compassion, that kind of thing? So some of the things may be that one of the things I can let go of is blame, resentment, putting it outside myself that somebody else has ruined my life or has made my life this way or whatever. And with that goes letting go of unrighteous judgment, letting go of assumptions. Anybody make assumptions? I made one this morning. I have to tell you about this really quick. I get up, it's dark, I let my little Jasmine outside, and so I can hardly see. So she comes in, and I look out my window, and I see what I think is a cat that is dead on my sidewalk. And so I'm like, my first thought was, oh, I just felt so sad. This cat froze to death out there. And I immediately went into unrighteous judgment because one of my neighbors has cats, never gets them fixed. And so it's like constant kittens, constant cats. And my thought was, see, he doesn't even take care of these cats, and this cat died out there. So I go and I throw on my clothes, and I, because I'm thinking, if it's alive, I can at least bring it in. And I go walking out there. And I had put a little coat on Jasmine when I let her out, and the coat fell off of her. I was relieved, but it was amazing to me how quickly I went into unrighteous judgment and assumptions. Letting go of gossip, letting go of blaming yourself, letting go of negative self-thoughts and talks, letting go of excuses. And then, what is it that I need to lean into in order to be the presence of love as individuals and as a community? The first thing we need to lean into is truth with a capital T. There is only one presence and one power, and that is God, and God is good. God is for me. The universe is for me. Grace surrounds me and supports me in my journey. We need to lean into compassion, and compassion is the desire to alleviate someone else's suffering. So we lean into compassion, we lean into kindness, and we look for ways to make small differences in people's lives around us. We lean into service. How may I serve love today? How may I serve my fellow man and woman today? We lean into service, and we lean into forgiveness, and really allow ourselves to lean into forgiveness and letting go. So what must I lean into, and what must I let go of? And here's the thing, is that in life, love is always the answer. I don't care what it is. Love is the answer. And love always, always, always wins. And I'm going to tell you, I've had evidence of this, especially through December. Actual evidence that when you stand in that knowingness, no matter what is showing up around you, love wins, and that love is always the answer. So I'm going to invite us to say together, all of this. So together, love is the answer, love wins, and love is our thing in 2015, and so it is, and so it shall be. And namaste, namaste. Now, before I let you go, I want to share something from a personal perspective. 9 years ago, I began my journey as the spiritual leader of our ministry, and this journey has been the most amazing, magnificent, awesome, expanding. I am so grateful that I get to do what I do. And I went back and I looked at my very first talk in January of 2006, and it was titled Come Fly With Me. And, I knew at that time that I was embarking upon something big. I knew there would be major, wonderful changes in my life, and I knew that there would probably be some not so good changes in my life because I was spreading my wings and I was flying. Now, when I did that talk, I was referencing the life of the caterpillar to the chrysalis to the butterfly. And I had shared that up to that point, I had felt like I was this caterpillar in the sense that I was very grounded to what I thought was real. I was grounded in pain and fear and jealousy and lack consciousness. Now, I was also grounded in joy and love and happiness. Definitely, I was grounded in those things as well. Then I found unity. And I believe that that's when I began my first actual chrysalis experience, and I went into great inner transformation. And that first Sunday, I literally felt like a new butterfly who was spreading her wings and so very ready to fly. And I did, we all did this together, and it's been fun and joyful. But it hasn't been all happy. My boyfriend at that time surprised me with the fact that he was moving to California, and that was a little bit challenging. But that happened to clear the way for the ice storm of 2007. And I know, for me, and justifiably, most people, remember that as ugh. But the ice storm of 2007 was when I met Sean, and that storm started the most beautiful experience of love that either one of us had ever felt. And through our entire time together, that love never faded, and never faded one bit, it only deepened. But with that experience came some extremely hard times of active alcoholism. And I've often said that my relationship with Sean, it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times. And as we know, the disease ultimately took his life. And I have to tell you that my wings were broken. And try as I might, I couldn't get myself up off the ground of deep grief. And I found myself back in that chrysalis. And deep change was taking place. And I want to tell you that I appreciate so much that not a single one of you tried to push me out of that chrysalis before I was ready. Because when you do that, the butterfly, it doesn't ultimately live. It can't be what it was meant to be. You allowed me to heal and to emerge in the time that was needed in order for me to get my wings back. And so here I am. I can't believe it. Almost a year has passed. It's just unbelievable to me. And today, thank you, my heart is still quite bruised, and I cry easily. And I will tell you that there's nothing in me that has a desire to take my ring off, because I love him as much today. But I also know that in time my heart will heal even more, and life will unfold, and I will always have a tender place in my heart called Sean. So why I'm sharing all this is because I want you to know that as your spiritual leader, I'm back. and that I feel strong. I feel excited about what is happening in our ministry, and I'm ready to fly again. And I want to fly with you guys. I want us to fly together. And I want us to create whatever is in our hearts and souls to create in this ministry. And you know, I've had so many people tell me that they have felt a palpable energy of up leveling, of shifting up that is already happening in this ministry. And we are here together as this collective consciousness to be a catalyst of change for our world. To be a catalyst of change. Is that amazing? To be a catalyst of change for our world. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and and I'm ready. I'm ready to be that leader that takes us into our next whatever is ours to do. That our thing. Love is our thing, truly, in 2015, and we are going places. There's no doubt about that. So thank you.